I am doing a quick video on the square and compass. I've just got done listening to a bit of teaching from one of my favorite teachers, Bro Sanchez. And I don't think this is related to anything he was saying necessarily, but it's something that I've been thinking about for a little while. The square and the compass. See, for a little while I've been building this idea that each of us is a torus field, and when we go around the world, when we go about our daily business, wherever we happen to be on the world, we're like this is not the perfect shape of the torus field, but we're like a little kind of glass dome, or a little dome of interaction with the wider torus field, the greater universe. And depending on where we are, it will determine where energy is striking the top of or the side of our sort of torus field, and then we interpret that. Someone walking in from the side, we would interpret that as someone walking in from the side. But whatever celestial energies are cruising over our head, they're interacting with our dome depending on where we are. So that I've been thinking about for a little time now, and trying to work out possible models about how that might work. And I have spoken on that in a previous video. I will do more on this in I think the weeks ahead. But this is the thought that came to me today. I was using this bowl here because it hey Tommy, thanks for stopping by, pal. This is much more easy to see. It kind of represents the torus shape a little bit. The scale of it is wrong, obviously. This would be a minuscule little thing. If this was what I'm saying is the square of the earth. Okay, let me clarify that. What I'm saying is the square of the realm, or the center layer, the heart center layer that we inhabit. And it might well be a three-dimensional thing, but I'm not building necessarily on it having to be in 3 dimensions. My DMT experience made me think that things were like more 2-dimensional here, even though we interpret them as 3 dimensions. Anyway, that's not for now. So, but this idea that actually the realm we inhabit is a plane is, to me, that you hear people talk about the dome, and okay, I'm not saying it's impossible to be a dome. I don't, I know rainbows and other things that seem to, represent the dome shape and so on. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, the sun track seems like a dome as well. These things can be seen to sort of inscribe a bit of a dome through your sky. Hey, Zane. I just saw something. I made a comment on something. Another poem you dropped. Thanks for that, pal. Do appreciate your wordsmithery. Anyway, so I try and ignore the chat so I'll stay on point here, but I don't want this to run on. So the environment that we inhabit, I'm working on this assumption, or this model or theory, that it is the square. And I was coming back to saying why I think that is because we know that the floor is flat, level, across the thing, and we know that the cloud banks in any place that we go are always planar. They're always horizontal with the horizon. Everything's working on that flat plane. So for me to say that eventually it's going to bend and go down is falling into the trap of using your perception, what you see, the rounding of the edges, because of perspective and density of the air and so on. The bending of light and so on. This is, I think, trickery that is still in the thinking. You know, I say to people, you know, show me water in the smaller scales, the glass, the pool, the pond, the lake, and then take it up to the bigger scales. You know, the Suez Canal, 101 miles long or whatever. So you know, this is provably level. So when do you allow for the curving to start happening? You know, is it at the Antarctic rim it starts to bend down? Okay, well, I'm not going to say that that's impossible. You know, I know that the cosmic egg theory also sort of eventually it's going to have to kind of hit an edge and dome off, but okay. But I think for me, I'm you know, that's a possibility. But in terms of if I magnify up what I can see, then the floor stays flat and the roof stays flat, or the cloud bank stays flat, and therefore the roof stays flat. Which then means that you are talking in you know, using geometrical square shapes. You know, and so I come back to the possibility that the whole construct would be more like this pallet table I made, you know, like a square thing. I mean, even here you can see that, you know, we could perhaps inhabit this sort of, this region here, you know, of my pallet table. If I film it from this side, you'll see better what I mean. You know, this could be the heavens above, and this could be the ground, and the 8 miles that we're able to dig down could be this, and we inhabit this space here, and our NASA rockets kind of come down and they get as far as that and they turn. I mean, we've apparently seen some rockets hitting the roof. Again, can't be certain about the veracity of that. So that's what I'm thinking in terms of how the universe, as it were, might work. But it's so important to realize that there is a globe, there is a ball or a spheroid, or a, what is it, Neil deGrasse Tyson calls it, a oblate spheroid, which is actually a little bit like this, I guess. So if there's an oblate spheroid in play, then I think that this is me, or you. I'm going to replace it with my glass dome here, and this is me. This would be like my my equator, my center line through the middle, and a little bit up, and I would be up in Europe, and a little bit down, I would be down in Africa. Yeah, I hope that makes sense to you. So that's, and I've got a light just above me. If I move this over here. So I've got a light just above me. I wonder if this will work. See, what I'm hypothesizing is that as you move away from the center point, either north or south, then you change the incidence, the angle of incidence that the super energies from the greater kind of universe are coming in at you from. So you will see certain things or not be able to see certain things. You know, if you're all the way down here south, then you won't be able to see things that are visible to someone who is up in the north. You also change the angle of incidence of the sun and the moon striking your dome, so it might mean that you might get, if you're all the way up here and it's a high summer, the height of summer, then you might get the light striking your domes super early and leaving your dome super late, which is what I see here. I didn't mean to talk about my theory about the straight line, sort of Enochian model of the universe. Again, it's in a book, so I don't say it has to be right because it's in a book. So I don't really want to make a debate necessarily about Operation Fishbowl. Yeah. I don't want to make this about the different kind of the AE model and so on, but I am interested in the square and compass here, and whether they aren't actually hiding something about the fact that the compass is inscribing the circle, which is you and your sight, your world of sight, and your interaction with the greater, which is drawn on a square. The Bible also talks about it being on a square, and it also talks about there being vents for air and water and so on to come in. remember the scale of this is obviously off. But that's my thoughts, and I've gone on for a little while now, 10 minutes, that's more than long enough. It has 4 corners, my brother, but I don't want to keep this going because people's time is precious. I hope you have a super Sunday, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.